guys, so this video has been a long time coming, and that is to go through a kitchen tour to talk all about how much it costs to get a new kitchen in 2022/2023 and what exactly is it that you can expect to potentially get for your money. I spent many of hours watching similar videos like this in the UK to see what we could get for our money, and sometimes I found that people showed their kitchens, done amazing kitchen tours, but they never talked about the costs, and all I really wanted to know was the costs. So I will talk about that today after I go through the kitchen and show you exactly what this kitchen entails, but we are so happy with it. It's been months in the making. It's not 100% finished, but it's definitely finished enough for me to do this video today. And so I hope this video is enjoyable, useful for you, and just gives you some tips and ideas in your own process of planning your kitchen design. So if you're new here to my channel, then my name is Deandra and I go by the name of Finance D on this channel. I like to talk about personal finances, and I'm trying my very best to make money not such a taboo topic to speak about with family, with friends, or even with strangers. But I do also like to do other content because life is not all about money. So this is a video that I'm really excited about because it combines home design, home interior with money. So it's just a match made in heaven. So currently I am standing in an extension part of our house. So we have a 3-bed semi-detached house, and we extended on the back of the house. We went out by about 4 meters and went across by about 6.5 meters. So it's like a 26 meter squared extension. And this is where we have housed our new kitchen and a new little living area and part of a utility room. So without further ado, let's go through the kitchen, the design, and of course at the end we will talk about costs. So when it came to choosing which kitchen provider we were going to go for, we knew that we couldn't afford to go for fully bespoke because it just wasn't within our budget. So we were between a few different kitchens. So we checked out DRA kitchens, Wren Kitchen, and also Howdens. So the type of kitchen that we have is a Fairford charcoal kitchen from Howdens, and we definitely wanted a dark interior kitchen because this room is south facing. We get a lot of light from bifold doors, which are right there, and we also have a sky lantern, and because of that we thought we could afford to go with a darker colour cupboard, which is something that I really wanted after previously having a white creamish kitchen before. So the style of kitchen we went for was a galley style kitchen, which actually is similar to the kitchen that we had before, but before it was on a much smaller scale. So we've gone for a galley style kitchen, and that meant we could have a large island, which is something that I really wanted. Our island is 2.7 meters long by 1.05 meters wide. I'll talk about the island a bit more later in the video. So I'm going to start on this side of the kitchen to talk through what it is, what is here, and yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea of what's behind this cupboard. So in this very first cupboard is a full length fridge. So I'll give a quick peek, but it's not, you know, the most tidy, but it's a full length fridge, which is fantastic. Before we had half a fridge and half a freezer, which is just not enough space, and now we have plenty of space and we very rarely fill up the fridge. So I knew that one of the things that I wanted in this kitchen was a full length fridge as well as a full length freezer, and I did not want them next to each other, which is an interesting design choice, but one that I don't regret at all. One thing that's really practical about having a fridge and freezer on opposite sides, so the fridge is here, the freezer is on the opposite side of the kitchen, is that we actually very rarely use the fridge and the freezer at the same time. We don't really use the freezer that much because we don't freeze meals or anything. But what is handy is when we get home from food shopping, if I'm unloading the fridge and hubby's unloading the freezer, we've got plenty of space between us. without feeling crowded. So that works out very practically. So next to the fridge, we have a 300mm or 30cm larder unit, and this one is actually just shelves. So I really wanted one that was pull out, which I'll show you later, and one that was just shelves. And this has been one of the most practical cupboards in the house. It stores things like tea towels, containers. Containers is always a tricky thing to store. And now I've created 2 shelves, baby related shelves, which has been handy because we have the extra space, and then we hold drinks in the lower 2. So this has been a great cupboard that gets plenty of use. So next we have an oven unit. So this obviously has an oven in it, but this isn't actually fully an oven. It's a microwave oven, and it works like a charm. They are slightly more expensive to get a microwave oven, but we wanted this in addition to a regular oven, so that's what we went for. And because the microwave ovens are slightly smaller, we also was able to get a warming drawer, which is very handy to have when you want to keep food warm and you're not ready to eat. Apparently it's good as well for bread when you're making bread, but I've not done that or anything. But yeah, so we were able to have this inserted as well. And then above the oven, you have a great big cupboard up top. You can put lots in there. We've even got a big appliance in there for cleaning bottles when that time comes. And then another big size cupboard at the bottom for more storage. So then we have this worktop here in the middle. So this space is 1400mm, 140 centimeters or 1.4 meters, whichever measurement you prefer. So it's a nice bit of worktop opposite the island, which, you know, just makes for a good working space. But truthfully, we mostly cook on here and probably make our breakfast on here. So we've got 2 sets of cupboards, so wall cupboards and then base units. The wall cupboards hold things like our teas and coffees, mugs, glasses, cups, the lot. There's a lot of stuff in there, and we haven't even used up all the room yet, so that's handy. And then at the bottom of this area we have plenty of cupboard space actually for breakfast items, some dried items, and again, all the space hasn't been used up in these cupboards, but it's nice to have just in case we need it at some point. On the back wall, we decided to go for a mirrored splashback instead of tiling it. I really like the idea of mirrors in a room. I think it makes it brighter and feels spacier. I probably will even add more mirrors to this room somehow, but it's really nice to reflect light. And because we don't have a hob or a sink on this back counter, we don't have to worry about cleaning it or anything like that. So that's really handy. So this is something that I would do all over again for sure in another kitchen. And then after the counter and the cupboards here, then we have another oven unit. So this one just holds our old oven from our old kitchen, and the same cupboards as over there. So it's very symmetrical. There's no difference. Then we also have another larder unit, so 300 or 30 centimeters or 0.3 meters, but this one is a pull-out one, which is very handy to have. It stores a lot of items in here, but is handy because then we never have to worry about running out of things. So it's the same cupboard as over there, but that one shelves and this one is pull-out. And last, but by certainly no means least, is a full-length freezer, which I was talking to you about over there. So it just opens like that, and yeah, it's a full-length freezer, which is just a great thing to have. So now you get an idea of the sense of the kitchen. I also thought I needed to add what the space is between these 2 counters. So the space between these 2 counters is just under 1 meter. It's like 98.5 centimeters, so just under 1 meter. The recommendation generally is to go for 1.2 meters or 1200 millimeters, 120 centimeters, but you know, space has to permit for you to do that, and based on how this area is designed, we couldn't really push this out any further without it feeling really tight on the other side. so there's like a pinch point with the wall. So we decided to go for this, and there was no exact science, which is why it's like 98.5 centimeters. It was very much a case of, does this feel okay? When we had the kitchen fitter, does it need to come over here? Does it need to move over there a little bit? So it was feeling it out and feeling what works. But I will say, it is plenty of space. When I'm working in the kitchen, I don't feel cramped. And the most important thing for me was making sure that if two things were open at once, so say the plate drawer, for instance, and this cupboard door, I wanted to make sure that if they were fully open at one time, they wouldn't be bashing each other, which they don't. So that was an important test for me. So as I mentioned earlier, we were able to have both a hob, induction hob, and a sink in the island, which is something that I really wanted for design purposes, and that was mainly to be able to make it a really, really functional space. So directly behind you is a dining room, and if I'm here in the kitchen, I can be fully social with whoever's in the dining room, but also fully social with anyone who's sitting at the bar stools, at the kitchen island, or also fully social with anyone who may be sitting in the living area. So it felt like a very good space to be working, whether I'm cooking, whether I'm washing up, packing stuff away in the dishwasher, or whatever else it may be. Now you may be wondering, where is the extractor fan? Because there's none on the ceiling, none on the back wall. Our extractor fan is actually in the island, and I'll show you what that looks like. This extractor fan is really practical because, as I said, it doesn't require you to have anything in the ceiling or on the back wall. I'm personally not a fan of huge extractor fans. I don't find them like a nice design piece. So I find this very sleek, very practical. It also works as a backsplash. So if you're frying something and it's super messy, then this also could act as a backsplash and you can clean this glass off. Also, it is ducted outside, which is really practical and something that you probably have to go for in terms of regulations. So this is not really a practical thing to have in a house that already is built, but it does practically work in an extension because you can get it ducted under the floor. So within the island there are quite a few more cupboards, so I'll talk you through those now. So at the very end we've got a pull-out spice rack, which was something that I wanted. It's not the neatest right now, honestly, but it stores so many spices and anything related to spices, which I absolutely love. And then right under the hob are 3 drawers. So there's the cutlery drawer, a drawer for the bowls and plates, and a drawer for all of our pots and pans, so that's really handy to have directly under the hob. Then right in the middle we've got an integrated dishwasher, and this was really important to me that the dishwasher was right next to the sink. So as things are dirty, I need to move them in, it's easy to manoeuvre, but also it was really important to me that it was close to the cutlery drawer, the plates and bowls, and the pots and pans, because those are the things that I use the most, and also it's not even far from the cup cupboard. So it may seem a bit lazy, but it's important to design good working triangles when you want to design and live in a kitchen that feels and looks good. Then by the sink we have an under sink cupboard, you know what they're like, and this stores also the hot water tap tank. The hot water tap deserves a conversation all on its own, so I'll get back to that in a minute. And then at the end is a pull-out bin, so it's just one big bin with shelves to put your rubbish bags, but also very practical to have next to the sink and just to have it integrated for a pretty seamless look in the kitchen. So the hot water tap, as I said, is something that deserves a topic and section all of its own. So the tank is a bit big, so it goes under the sink. Okay, cool. Tank's a bit big, but you still can fit plenty under the sink as well. But the hot water tap, if you haven't seen it before, it's literally instant water. So you push this back, release it, and literally your cup of tea is made just like that. So this one's for the hot water. This one is just for the regular water. So like back is hot, forward is cold. For people who are not used to it, it takes a bit of time for them to get used to. But once you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. It is an investment, and I'll talk about the cost in a bit, but I think it's a worthwhile investment. And now I can't really picture my life without one. So now let's have a little chat about costs. So this is an important part of the video, as I said. So as I said earlier, this is a Howdens kitchen that I've been showing you today. We did also look at Wren Kitchen, and we also looked at DIY kitchens, which you have to kind of build online for yourself. In the end with Howdens, we turned out to get the best deal, even better than DIY kitchens, because we came to them with the price we were offered at Wren and DIY kitchens, and they said that they were willing to match that. But I came back and said, well, it's not good enough to match it. I want it lower than Wren or DIY kitchens. So they honoured that. You know, sometimes we think we can't negotiate with these big companies, but sometimes you can, and it's worth a try, is what I would say. And I'm really glad that I pushed it, went back and forth with the sales lady, and ended up securing a really good price for the kitchen. So for the cupboards, the worktop, which we didn't actually get through Howdens, we got through a private local company, the mirrored splashback, things like the handles and all of that, which we bought separately, that came to a grand total of £8,000. Now, what I will say is that probably seems a bit on the cheaper side, especially when you're talking about quartz worktops, which aren't the cheapest material to buy. However, I also really did haggle down the supplier of the quartz worktop, really tried to negotiate, and also was just willing to not get the most expensive quartz, slab of quartz, and really work with them to get a price that fit within our budget. Now for the kitchen, we decided not to go for appliances with Howdens because it just really bumped up the price. So we wanted to get appliances separately. This meant though, you know, a lot of research, a lot of time spent looking for good quality appliances, but at reasonable prices. So we made use of Black Friday sales, which is coming up now. So if you're looking for appliances, this is a great time. We also made use of like winter sales, and even certain appliances we bought X display. So for example, our dishwasher is a really good quality Neff dishwasher. Now, if you know anything about appliances, Neff isn't the cheapest, but they are a good brand for a reason. So I did want a Neff dishwasher, but I didn't want the Neff price tag. So we got an X display dishwasher. The only downside of it was that the front was kind of scuffed, but it's an integrated dishwasher, so you can't even see the front anyway because it's covered by a cupboard door. So it didn't really matter, and it meant that we got a couple, I think like £150 or £200 knocked off the dishwasher because we were willing to go for X display. So there's always ways that you can cut back if you're willing. We did get a new microwave oven at full price. Well, not at full price, at sale price. But then we decided to not get a brand new oven. We had an oven in our old kitchen. There was nothing wrong with it. You know, obviously it's not spanking new, but there's nothing wrong with it. We just cleaned it up, and it fits perfectly well within the kitchen now. So that was a big saving that we were able to make. So it's about finding what you can maybe use from your old space and combining it with what you want to or can use in your new space. So for the kitchen appliances, which include the full-length integrated fridge, the full-length integrated freezer, integrated dishwasher, the sink, the hot tap, the hob, the extractor fan. So that came to, all in total, £3,125. So all in all, the kitchen came to a total of £11,125. So that includes everything you saw today, all the appliances, all the cupboards, the quartz worktop, the mirrored splashback, everything. That's included. And then on top of that, you have to include the installation of the kitchen, which was an extra £1,000. So that would bring it to £12,125. So I hope today's video has been useful for you, that it's been helpful and insightful. If you did like this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up down below. And if you also are interested in more videos like this, then do hit subscribe, but also let me know in the comments. I'm thinking of doing a kitchen design loves video to talk more in detail about the things that I really love about the kitchen, but also I'm thinking of doing a kitchen regrets video of things that I would change next time or I don't really like. I've got things on both lists, so if this is something that you'd be interested in, let me know, subscribe, and yeah, I should be doing those videos shortly after this one. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and supporting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video real soon. Interesting story. So for the mirrored splashback, as I said, that counter area is 1400 millimeters or 1.4 meters, and the first quote that I got was for £850 just for a mirrored splashback, and I was like, that's just way out of budget, way more than I really want to pay. So I kept looking around, and in the end I saw something for £500, and I was like, that's much more reasonable. But then in the end I decided to go to the actual supplier of the mirror, and it worked out to be way cheaper to do it like that. And I asked them, did they have anyone who would fit it for us? And they had someone who would do it for cheap. So in the end, we got that mirrored splashback for around £250, which included the installation as well. So to go from £850 just for the mirror alone down to £250, which included the mirror and the installation, is a huge saving. But it goes to show, if you take some time to dig in, do some research, call multiple places, have discussions to see if they can negotiate, you really can start to slash prices down.